Have we tasted thousands of whiskeys blind? Yes, we have. Do we have any clue what we're talking about? No, we don't. But we're going to get into this blind tasting, and you're going to get the most unbiased opinion possible because we have no clue what are in these glasses.
Welcome to Stuff and Whiskey. I'm Erin.
I'm Josh, and we are a husband and wife team. If you're new here, we are a husband and wife team who just hang out and sip whiskey together. We are not professional whiskey reviewers. We simply give you an unbiased opinion through blind tastings so that our reactions can serve as your review.
Yeah.
So Erin is a little bit more of the casual social sipper. I'm a little bit more of the whiskey nerdy whiskey hobbyist.
Yep.
Those are the lenses through which we are going to view these pours, and let's go ahead and get right into it.
Okay.
And as we start smelling this, I'll let you know we drew this at random from our blind sample pool, which is a bunch of matchups paired together for all sorts of reasons. Some of them even curveballs to keep us on our toes, or oftentimes it puts us on our heels. Let's see how we feel about this first glass. What you thinking?
This smells like semi-dry room paint.
Wow, this smells wild to me. It's semi-dry room paint.
Not a fresh coat of paint, you've painted a room, you've walked away for several hours, and it's partially dry.
Yeah. Wow. This is like, it's got this kind of weird barrel influence on it to me.
I don't know what that means.
That it's giving this kind of latex paint type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like this weird old barrel char type of note to me. It's either that or nuttiness. It's one of the two. Sometimes I get those two things confused, but general impressions on the nose are wow, weird, wow.
Wow, weird, question mark?
Let's get it down the hatch.
Kind of tastes similar to how it smells, but not like paint, more like nuttiness, to your point.
Yeah, it's definitely got a nuttiness to it. And there is a brighter sweetness there, like a vanilla cream or something that I can't quite put my finger on.
There's like a fruitiness almost.
Yeah, it's almost like a strawberry cream savor or something.
Well, what I was thinking is like I had eaten a fruit roll-up like 2 hours ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then drank something, and then you know how sometimes when it's stuck in your teeth and you drink water, the flavor kind of comes back? That's what it was like. Like I ate a fruit roll-up, then drank some alcohol.
Yeah. I'm still trying to figure this one out. Let's take another sip.
Okay. It's not sweet at all, but it's almost too not sweet, if that makes sense.
I mean, I love sweet things, so I feel you.
And I like typically not sweet things, but there's no, like, there was that fruitiness that I got, but it's not sweet at all. I don't know how to describe that.
Yeah, it's like the note is there, but whoever was making the recipe that had that fruity sweetness in it and the vanilla sweetness just left the sugar out.
All the sugar, yeah.
So you're getting the flavor, but there's a very apparent lack of sweetness. I don't know if that's just what the pour is, if it's because of age or something.
I don't know.
Maybe it's really old and it's just got some, the sweetness has been sucked out with barrel tannins and everything.
Yeah.
That's a wild glass of whiskey.
Yeah.
I can't recall having a bunch of stuff that reminds me of that.
Yeah.
Like it seems kind of...
It's interesting.
Yeah.
I will say it's dry, but it's not drying.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's better to be dry, but not drying. Drying is... We don't like drying.
Yeah.
Dry, not too bad. Not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
I'm just lacking some sweetness on that. Could be our first impressions after we spend some time with it.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll open up a little bit more. But first impressions on glass 2, let's get into it.
Oh, man, this kind of smells the same.
It does smell very similar. I wouldn't be surprised if these are for the same family. Not that we're trying to guess, but to me, I'm getting a little bit more of like a sugary peanut butteriness to this. But it's still in the same kind of nutty, earthy barrel vein. You're getting a lot of influence from that. I'm getting maybe a little bit more vanilla on this one.
Maybe. I think for me, it's going to come down to how it tastes.
Yeah. It smells remarkably similar to the first glass. Let's get this on the palate. What is happening? That is a weird, strange pour, too.
Are we broken?
We might be broken today. It happens sometimes.
It kind of tasted like pool water.
So we got drying paint versus pool water.
Kind of, but then it went away.
Yeah, honestly, I'm just going to need another sip.
Yeah.
Man, I'm getting just so much nuttiness off of both of these. And I don't know if that's me today or that's these pours. It's
like a pool floaty with the chlorine water attached to it.
Attached?
Like,
on it.
On it. Which
Okay.
is attached to,
Yeah, I guess.
chemically speaking, the bonds, the covalent bonds. I don't know.
Wow, covalent bonds.
I don't know science.
You've been watching too much Breaking Bad
Breaking
reruns.
Bad.
All right. To me, Glass 2, again, I'm feeling a lack of sweetness here.
Yeah.
I want more sweetness. They seem very bourbon-y, but
Yeah.
not sweet bourbon.
Yeah, I think what I'm finding is while I don't like super sweet, if you don't have anything else to replace that, I'm not impressed. Like have power or have a concentration of some flavor. This is kind of like, I don't know. And
Yeah.
you know what I mean? There's like, I don't know what's here.
It feels very general. It
Yeah.
feels like if you were going to write the recipe to very general bourbon, this is what you would get. And this is weird. We drink, I mean, plenty of stuff on the channel here and on our own. So we're used to a pretty wide spectrum. These are just kind of coming across kind of flat, unremarkable bourbon.
Different in maybe a not good way, but we don't know yet. I want to take a little bit more time with this.
Yeah, and maybe it's us. We did warm up with a pour to make sure our palates were right. Everything seemed all right there, but maybe these just aren't hitting us right today. We are going to take some time, clear our palates, start with the second glass, go back to the first. We'll be back with any new findings as well as our preferences and our ratings in just a second. After spending some time with both of these, what do you think about them? Let's start with that.
Okay, well, I do think that the nose on these, both of them opened up once we gave it a little bit more time in the glass. However, the flavor didn't change a bunch for me. But let me say this. The nose on glass 2, I'll start with that because that's the one I went back to first. It got a little bit more like honeysuckle for me. And then the nose on glass 1 got a little more fluffy. Like it smelled fluffy.
Yeah.
Almost like cotton candy, but not sweet. The taste kind of stayed the same overall, but the nose did get better on both.
Yeah. All right. I would agree with that. I mean, I thought the noses got better on both of them by quite a bit as they sat here, but not a lot changed on the palate. I mean, glass 2 is kind of reminded me of those, those cookies. It was like a dessert, like a junk food. I wouldn't call it a dessert, like a junk food snack. It was like a peanut looking thing, and it had filling in the middle.
Nutter Butters.
I thought a Nutter Butter was like I'm thinking drumsticks.
Nutter Butters. Okay. I used to love those.
It was like really...
or still do.
It's like really nutty, and there's like a vanilla cream inside.
Oh, no, there's like a peanut butter cream.
Peanut butter cream. That's what glass 2 kind of reminds me of.
On the palate?
Yeah, but just there's a very noticeable lack of sweetness. Glass 1 is just a little bit brighter, a little bit sweeter, has a little bit of that fruity edge, but everything is so nondescript, and it also is lacking a lot of sweetness. Do you have a preference between these two glasses?
Not really.
I'm really struggling. If you force me, I would say glass 1. I'm definitely leaning towards glass 1 of the two. If I had to have another glass of either one of these, it'd be a pretty easy call for glass 1. I'm just not in love with either pour today.
I could go glass 1 as well, but it's not an easy call. They're both not blowing me away. I'm going to give them both just okay.
Yeah.
I don't have to have them. I may not even get a pour of them at a bar, but they're not bad.
Yeah. Just not to your flavor.
They're not to my flavor.
Today and maybe at all.
I might have to go thumbs down.
Well, let's find out. I'm going to say just okay as well. I don't have to have bottles of these. If I had a glass at somebody's house, I would finish it.
They're just not impressing me, like, at all.
They're just not to our... Yeah.
Is that mean?
Not to our flavor profiles. I think they don't have the earthiness that you want. I think they're massively lacking on the sweetness that I prefer.
Yeah, and I think the fact that they're neither here nor there is doing them a disservice.
Yeah.
They haven't picked a lane, and they're just kind of trying to maybe be all things to all people, and you can't be all things to all people. Note to self.
Okay. Price wise, I mean, these feel very budget bourbon lane pours, like a $15 to $30 bottle.
They also seem a little bit lower proof.
Yeah, 100-ish, in that ballpark range. But
100 or less.
Yeah, decent experience. Flavors aside, the finish is decent on both of them. I just wouldn't expect much on the price point here. Should I? Glass number 1's number 31. What's the price?
$120.
Wow. What's the price on glass number 2?
$70.
Wow.
I mean, obviously 70 is less than 120, which makes it a better bargain. But I don't particularly think either of them are worth that. If I'm spending my money based on what I like.
Yeah.
That caveat has to be put in there. I'm spending my money based on my flavor preferences, I'm going thumbs down on both. I don't think I wouldn't spend what they're asking on either of these personally.
Man, I don't know. I think to me, just the lack of sweetness here is what's killing me. It's a lot of wood on both glasses. I'm guessing based on the price, it's probably age.
Oh, you think?
I mean, I don't know why something would be that woody and that having that much of a lack of sweetness. I'm gonna probably go thumbs down on both of these as well for that price point.
Yeah.
And not that I mind them. It's just to me today, this is not the flavor profile that I want out of either glass.
I will say the nose does continue to get better, but the palate doesn't tend to change, which is interesting.
I will say I would tasting them again, knowing the price. I still prefer glass one.
Yeah.
And it's again, not particularly close to me. It's a pretty easy call to pick glass one.
Yeah.
It just has more bright sweetness in it, but I just want more sweetness from both. So
yeah.
Let's find out what glass number 2 is, number 32 in our pool.
Okay. Knob Creek 12-year.
Wow. Okay. The nuttiness makes sense then.
Yeah.
Yeah. The nuttiness makes perfect sense because Knob Creek is a very nutty profile.
Okay.
What's in glass number 1, number 31?
Old Forester 1924.
Where's all the sweetness?
100 proof. And the Old Forester is a sample given to us thanks to Justin Williams.
A bottle given to us.
Thank you, Justin. Oh, a bottle.
Yeah.
Thank you, Justin.
So I've had this before, and it has come across with more sweetness, but it does have an oaky edge to it, and sometimes oak can hit you sideways, you know?
Yeah.
And today it looks like that's exactly what's happening for both of us.
Even though you didn't love it, but...
And the math checks out, right? Like I put this in here because the Old Forester 1924 is a 10-year-old, newer product, higher price, harder to get.
Yeah.
Knob Creek 12-year kind of sits on shelves in a lot of markets. Not our market. We don't get it at all. It's heavily allocated here. But in a lot of markets, it just sits on shelves. And it's far more readily available and far more cheap. Like it's $70 versus 120-ish. I do prefer Old Forester's flavor profile to Jim Beam, Knob Creek.
Which is Knob Creek, yeah.
Other than Knob Creek picks that are, for whatever reason, those just really hit me the right way.
Yeah.
But this was a very interesting matchup. I know a lot of people are going to be in the comments like, how dare we disparage Knob Creek 12-year? Look, we didn't know what we were tasting.
Look, we're just talking about what we're tasting, so
and
don't come at us.
If you love Knob Creek 12-year, build some blinds. Put a few samples together.
Yeah.
You can get some 2-ounce Boston Round sample jars off of Amazon. Put some samples together of Knob Creek 12 versus some of your other pours that might stack up proof-wise close to it. And you might see that you might not like it as much as you think you do when you're not looking at the bottle and having that influence.
Or you might like it just as much and you can confirm it in a blind. Yeah,
exactly. So that's why we do things this way, to give you guys, the most honest opinions possible, although they are just opinions and taste is incredibly subjective. So again, I've had both of these, knowing what they are on different days. They've hit me a lot better than this, but we've had Knob Creek 12 in some blinds and it hasn't performed well in some of those. And this is, I think, the first time Old Forester 1924 has been on the channel, but it won't be the last time.
Probably not.
Who knows when it'll pop up again in the blind pool, but we have a bottle of it. We're going to put it in some matchups and see how it fares against some other things. But today, the age on these and the nuttiness on both of them really just did not
wasn't floating our boat.
It was not floating our boat. But if this type of review floats your boat, think about subscribing to the channel, liking the video if you like it, and hitting that bell if you'd love to join us on a live stream, have a pour with us. We would certainly love that. Join in. I mean, bottles come and go, but people stick around. Join us. Let's go.
Absolutely.
Let's have a good time.
Yep.
And speaking of having a good time, down in the video description, you can find a link to our Patreon community. First and foremost, if you want to get in on our barrel picks, that's where you do it.
Yes.
They start at the top tier and work their way down all the way to the free tier if they make it that far. So make sure you at least sign up for the free tier if you're interested in getting some barrels that we go and select ourselves from different distilleries all over the place.
Yep.
And if you want to get plugged into the community for as little as $3 a month, you can join Patreon. That'll get you into Discord. People are doing all kinds of stuff over there, sharing samples, helping each other find stuff. It's a great community of the best people. So check that out over there. And you can get cool shirts like this or like this sweatshirt at stuffandwhiskey.com.
Absolutely.
I think that's it for today.
That's it for today, y'all. Be good to each other. And until next time.
Cheers. Wow. We're going to get trashed in the comments. Yeah, I'll drink this Old Forester. I don't want the Knob Creek.
We're going to get trashed in the comments?
Probably.